This is NDTV, and you're watching Classics.
Welcome to Born Wild, the show that takes you to the heart of wild India. It takes you up close and personal to some of India's most endangered animals and the people who help them fight for their survival. This week we're going into Manas National Park. Once it was the jewel of India's crown. Made into a reserve forest in 1928, Manas was declared a World Heritage Site in 1985 because of the presence of not one but four mega species: the elephant, the rhino, the tiger and the leopard. And apart from that, it also has highly endangered animals like the pygmy hog, the Bengal florican and the one and only golden langur, which is found here. But post-1985, just a few years after it was made into a World Heritage Site, political strife and insurgency nearly ran this park into the ground. The struggle for an autonomous Bodoland had insurgents and militants fighting from inside the park. They were living in there, making it untenable for tourists and visitors to come. In fact, the park was unofficially shut down for almost 10 to 12 years. People were being killed, and more than that, animals inside the park were also being killed. In fact, all the rhinoceroses that were once found in this park have all been killed. But this week, the first rhinoceros has been reintroduced into Manas. The rhinoceros has come from the Kaziranga National Park, sort of signaling that Manas is coming back into its golden age. Manas is still considered a World Heritage Site, although the label right now is a World Heritage Site in danger. This is something that they're trying to change. We're here this week to look at the park and what it's doing to try and change it and come back to its original glory. So welcome to Manas. 3 years ago, when our team drove into this rescue centre set up by the Wildlife Trust of India in Kaziranga with the help of the Forest Department, little did we know that we would be meeting a rhino who would become a part of rhino history in Assam. Just a few months before we got there, a baby rhino had been rescued during the floods in Kaziranga and brought here. She was barely a month old, and being so young was placed with a baby wild buffalo who had also been rescued.
This particular rhino calf, female calf, it was rescued from the floodwaters just 1 month before that by the forest staff on 28th of July 2002. After when it got started, so we handed it over to them. This was a collaborative project. This rescue center is a collaborative project of Assam Forest Department with the WTI, with the assistance from WTI. And accordingly, they are now rearing a lot of rescued, whatever animals have been rescued, and it is being reared, treated, and then it's released to the forest.
This rescue centre started as a place where wild animals either trapped or lost in floods or injured and captured by people could be brought. It has leopards, elephants and even a hulok gibbon. But the mandate was bigger. It was never a mini zoo, but rather a place where the rescued animals could be kept isolated till either they were well or grown up enough to be released back into the wild. The baby rhino was kept away from everybody except her keepers who fed her and the doctor who looked after her. Fast forward 3 years and we were back this time to see her being transported in a historic journey. She would become the first wild rescued rhino to be released into a soft release centre in Manas National Park, 430 kilometers away from Kaziranga.
One team was constituted and the team visited Manas, and they found that there is a very suitable area known as Kuribil within Manas. It is suitable, so accordingly we decided to send it to Kuribil area.
At one time only second to Kaziranga in terms of rhino numbers, Manas, a World Heritage Site, lost all of its rhinos to the Bodoland struggle in the late 80s and 90s. The rhinos were systematically poached, their horns used for barter, for weapons. Nestled in the foothills of the Himalayas, Manas is today labelled as a World Heritage Site in danger on the Indian side. It extends into Bhutan as the Royal Manas. The rhino was already in a crate when we got to the centre, and then the long process of loading her into a truck began. Initially, it seemed that it would not happen, as the rhino, stressed at being put inside the crate, was hurling her considerable bulk against it. But once it was determined that the crate would stay secure and not splinter during the journey, the crane was brought in to move it. A truck waited for the rhino to be loaded. Crate and all, the total weight was 3 tons.
It was decided somewhere about one year back or so. I forgot exact date. So the authority here, they said it is now, after proper treatment, now it is ready to be released in the forest.
It took hours for the crate to be loaded. And once it was, then the rhino had to be driven the 400 or more kilometers to Manas. This is the gate through which the truck from Kaziranga bearing the first rhinoceros to be reintroduced into Manas will come. The truck is taking a historic step, that towards realizing the Vision 2020, a vision that says rhinos will be reintroduced and rehabilitated into all the areas of Assam where they were once found.
Release area has to be in the original rhino habitat of Manas National Park. An area has to be suitable for erecting the fence. Then third is suitable water sources and less biotic pressure.
Finally, almost 20 hours later, she arrived in Manas ready to be released in the soft release area.
This type of animal, we do not release it directly to the forest because first of all it has to be adapted to survive itself in the forest area. Because here the food is being given, though as far as practical we keep them away from the human being, touch of human being, still they get a lot of foods are being served. So there we will send it to a pre-release site. Now accordingly it was decided, because Manas was having a rhino earlier, so why not to release, because Kaziranga is already, whether it's overcrowded, but a lot of rhinos are there. So why to release it in Kaziranga? Let us release it in Manas, where it was there.
In several steps we had to visit different areas of this park where would be the actual location for having a pre-release site. Then finally in between this Gauri Farm Camp and Kurivil Camp, we had to select this area depending upon the various criteria, and now rhinos are here.
A crowd gathered to watch the spectacle, and maybe it was all that noise and the various smells that had the rhino staying inside her crate for a bit after it was opened.